Hey, this is Rich over at TVP Live with another quick tips tutorial brought to you by Adobe Photoshop Elements Tutorials Group. And let's jump right in with today's poster who wanted to know how to replace this background with a different sky and also make the birds a little more prominent. So I'm going to start with making a copy of this original image so that I can manipulate the copies version of the birds without affecting the other. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the bottom layer here to use later. Stay with the top layer, and I just want to cut the birds out and not have to worry about what happens to the background. So I'm going to go ahead and take the polygon tool and just cut around like this. Double click. I'm going to right click and select inverse and hit delete. That basically deleted everything but the birds. This allows me to go in and carefully select the birds using the magic tool. Now we're going to have a little problems with the trees, but that's okay. We can fix that later. Right now the tolerance right here is set to 30%. I'm going to click right in the middle here and see what happens. And if we zoom in, you'll see that it cut out some of the bird here and it's cutting off some of the tail feathers. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that. I'm going to change this 30 down to 10% and see what happens there. Click in here again. That looks a lot better. It's leaving most of the bird that I want to keep. So if I hit delete, you'll see what it did was it cut off some of the bird up here. So in this particular case, the magic tool is actually not a very good tool. I'm going to go ahead and undo that and deselect it. I'm going to actually do it by hand using the eraser tool and then the polygon tool. So I clicked on eraser. I'm going to grab a very small, like 5-point brush, and I'm going to come in really close and basically shift click and erase everything that I don't want to keep along the edge of the bird. And normally I would right click and select inverse and delete, but since I want to keep the rest of this, I'm going to right click and hit copy. And that just made a new layer on its own. And now I'll do the same thing with this bird. I'm going to double click. I'm going to zoom out again. I will right click and hit copy. So now I should be able to turn that second layer off and I have my third layer and my fourth layer, just the birds. This is a time-consuming process, but you know what? It's really worth it because when you cut out by hand, everything's going to be really nice and sharp. I can go ahead and right-click on this secondary layer and I can delete it. And now I got just the birds. Let's go ahead and zoom out and turn on the back layer again. I can turn off the birds here because I don't need those separate birds at this point. So now what we want to do is get rid of the sky, and conversely we can fix this foreground here because it's kind of faded a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the image to choose that layer. I'm going to go to enhance and watch the trees. When I hit smart fix, it instantly made them more colorful, more rich, more vibrant. And basically what it did is it added some contrast. We really need that contrast because we need to contrast the foreground from the background if we're going to use the magic tool on the trees. I'm going to zoom in to show you what happens when you use the magic tool. And we want to get rid of the sky by choosing the sky. Now if we set this tolerance to, let's say, 100% and I hit the sky, watch what happens. It grabs some of the birds. It grabs a lot of the leaves. If I hit delete, we just lost a bunch of leaves that attached this leaf to the branch down here. And you got all these like wandering leaves up there that aren't attached to the trees at all. So obviously 100% is too much. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Let's try this at, let's say, 5%. When I click on the sky again, 5%, if I hit delete, that was too little. It's not capturing enough of the sky. So obviously we need something in between. Let's go ahead and undo that. I'm going to try something like, I don't know, 30%. I'm going to click here and look at that. It's a perfect match. Every little leaf is almost still attached to the tree. And this is what we're looking for, is a nice medium grab of the whole thing. It might not grab everything that we want. There might be some edges that we need to fix. I'm going to zoom out and go ahead and delete the sky. Boom. The sky is gone. Don't worry about the birds because we can just get rid of them right now. So let's go ahead and take the polygon tool, and I'm just going to go ahead and indiscriminately get rid of the birds. I'm going to just kind of fashion part of the tree line there, and it's okay if you miss some of the tree line because you can recreate your own tree line here. It doesn't matter because what the audience doesn't know is missing, they'll never know. So I'm going to go like this, double click and hit delete. Look at the birds are gone. The new tree line is there. Not much was missing. There's a little bit of the old sky and hopefully that'll match with the new sky too. So let's go ahead and bring in our new sky. Now the skies are really important that you don't bring something that's going to offset the foreground that's already there. So you don't want a sky with like really pillowy clouds and really bright blue because that's not what would naturally be there. Look at the sky there. It's pretty mute. So I picked the sky that was kind of like this. It's a little bit mute. The clouds are kind of muty. They're not like big puffy clouds. And I don't think that that would have been a natural clouds to put in there. So let's go ahead and bring it in. See how small it is? It's okay because we're going to first lock the foreground and then take our background clouds and bring it underneath. That way when I'm playing around with this clouds, it doesn't affect the trees. I'm making it big by grabbing the corner, and look at that, it's starting to look good. I can drag the middle down to fill out the rest of the image, and look at that. Look how natural these clouds look. They look like the vast expanse of the whole forest here, and you can see these kind of stringy clouds from far coming towards us, and that really looks like three-dimensional. Now before we bring in our birds, I'm going to go ahead and lock this sky to the background. So both of these are locked so that I don't by mistake grab them when I'm moving the birds around. Let's go ahead and bring the birds back in. And now since we wanted to make the birds more prominent, I can click, shift, click, and I got both of them and look at what happens. I can put them anywhere I want. You want to put them over here, you want to put them over here, you want to put them in the middle and make them a little bit bigger, go for it. Look at that. And I can just turn it a little bit, boom, like this. And this looks really nice. It looks natural, and I like that right around there. Well, that's all there is to it for this tutorial. This is Rich, calling it quits, saying over and out.